because 3 or 4 hours later, I was going to have to hop back up and do another task. If I would have took that car all the way to that rat-infested friggin' parking lot, you don't want me to get OSHA around here, do you? You don't want me to get OSHA. That ain't what she said, but that's the bullshit I was saying. You want me to go get OSHA?
I don't hear nobody out there.
Came big news. After work one day, my mother announced, well, I was offered a program director position at CD 1019. CD was a jazz station in New York, and this was a great opportunity for her. But still, she had to ask, how do you feel about moving back to New York? How did I feel? Yes, please, for the love of God, take me back. I was ready. She made me a deal that she would try to help find another internship at a radio station because she saw how much I loved it, but that I would have to go to school and get a job too. Okay. I agreed. My wish had come true. I couldn't wait to get back to my city. It had been only 10 years earlier that I'd first heard Rapper's Delight at my aunt's uptown house party. But here I was, age 18, seeing how much had changed and how quickly hip-hop was moving from house parties and the streets into the clubs and the nighttime social scene. I barely had time to go check it all out when my mom finds out that Hot 97, a freestyle dance station at the time, is looking for interns. I started at the bottom. I did everything, whatever they needed me to do, running to get coffee, office work, errands, and the same kind of market research as before. Only this was New York. So cold calling people at home and asking them to name their favorite songs I'd get hung up on all the time. Oh girl, that's just her backdoor way of saying you niggas in New York is rude. Whatever anyone asked, I was on it. Pretty soon, everyone knew if they needed something, they could ask me. We'll get Angie to get it. She'll do it. Looking back, it's strange that I still wasn't sure what I wanted my future to be. But then again, at 18 years old, neither did any of my friends. Before long, I'd found my way into every department as I tried to learn as much as I could about all the moving pieces that made a radio station go. I found that because I'm so eager to work, I know it's PRN or part-time, whatever they want to call it, but because I'm so eager to work, y'all, I want to know everything. If it's an opportunity to learn, I'm right there learning it. Okay? And I don't know if it's because I'm just so excited to be out of the house. Wait a minute, pause. Some of you peoples that be working from home, I don't know, how the hell do you do it? Staying in the house for years drove me crazy. That's part of the reason why I had to get a job. Staying in the house and the only thing I had was my wife and my dog. That shit drove me crazy. I was about to lose my mind in here. In fact, I did lose my mind. And then once I started socializing with other people, I was like, this is what the world is like? Then I wound up getting hired part-time to work on their street team. It was not glamorous. For something like $3 an hour, I drive the van, hang up posters at events like sales, appearances, and whatever other outside errands needed to be done. Every day I would come to work looking like a member of TLC. My uniform of choice was oversized tees and baggy pants and kicks. Girl, that was all of our outfits back in the day, child. The lessons of hard work were starting to pay off. But I had a lot more to learn about time management and setting priorities. I had kept my agreement with my mother that if she helped me get an internship, I'd go to college. But after enrolling in a full load of classes at Borough of Manhattan Community College, I was failing. Between school and the radio station, I clearly cared more about my job than my classes. While I was in that zone of hyper energy, working in the office, getting coffee, being on a street team, driving vans, I had to drive one of the radio personalities, Deborah Rath, all the way to Great Adventure for an event she was hosting. Tall and thin and blonde, Deborah was known for playing dance music and did lots of events like this. The drill was that after driving her in the Hot 97 van more than 60 miles to Great Adventure, I was supposed to drive back to Manhattan and then down to some dead-end, rat-infested parking lot in Midtown. When I parked there, I would stomp my feet so that the rats wouldn't come running up. At that point, I lived on the Upper West Side with my mom. I was still living at home, not even a full adult yet. What a relief when I drive the van home, go inside and go to sleep. I'll tell you about this situation, right? The girl was tired after making that long trek out to, what is this, Wildwood, Great Adventures, Kings Dominion, whatever the fuck, okay? So she made the trip. She was tired as hell, so she drove it back to her house. She parked the van out front. When she came downstairs to start her next task, it was a parking ticket on the goddamn car. Trouble, because if there's a parking ticket on the car, you know that the company is going to get their ticket too. Like, to me, I probably would have hurried up and paid that shiz before me, you know, I don't suggest you people take this, and y'all probably like, Nate, what is this on your head, girl? I'll tell you about it later. Me, I would have took that parking ticket. I would have mailed that motherfucker straight to the parking enforcement people, and who is this? Hot 97 would have never known. Okay, but that's my burst of beating. Okay, but she concerned. Holy shiz, I got a ticket. Obviously, when the station received notice of the parking ticket, they'd know that I kept the van, because remember, when she's finished the task, she's supposed to drive it back to the rat-infested parking lot over there somewhere and then go home. I don't know, catch a cab, get on a train. I don't know. But she ain't had a wherewithal this night to do it. I'm tired. But for some dumbass reason, I just didn't tell them. And I waited until they got the ticket in the mail. Maybe I was hoping it would never come. Girl, it would have never came if you would have paid this shit. Angie, did you take the van home? You know that's against the rules. I'm standing in the marketing director's office, and he's giving me a speech that's going on and on. Blah, blah, blah. Then he says, you know we have fired people for that. Yeah, okay. Shiz. Pause. You fired the people that you didn't like for that. The muggers who you like, you just don't do that no more. A few days later, I was back at the studio for a meeting with the general manager, Judy Ellis, where it would be determined whether or not I was going to get fired. Judy was this little 5-foot dynamo. She was tiny, yes, but she could be in a room full of 6-foot men and dominate. She demanded your attention, your respect. She was fierce. She was smart. She was a big part of what Hot 97 would become. Ooh, that sounds like our Kathy Hughes. Our Kathy Hughes is a bad motherfucker. They sitting there at the table. Ooh, child. Ooh, disciplinary conversations are always the worst, girl. You just be like the only person at the table, sometimes the only nigga, you know, sitting at the table. You got all these men, sometimes only white men, sitting around the table. Maybe one white woman, maybe one black woman that don't know that she a black woman. She still thinks she a white man in her mind because she trying to be where the white men are. Okay. Oh, I'm on your team, team white man. I've been there. Narob has been disciplined before. Okay. But girl, you be sitting around the table and they be whispering to each other, going through the notes and all this other shit is right in your face, and you just be sitting there quiet, just looking. What the hell? Angie Martinez said, can I say something? Because you guys are about to make a decision about my actions and you don't even know why. One of them was like, well, do tell, Angie. She was like, first of all, don't forget I drove that lady all the way to Wildwood, Great Adventures, or Hershey Park, whatever the hell it was for her to do that event. I got back so late that I was dead tired because 3 or 4 hours later, I was going to have to hop back up and do another task. If I would have took that car all the way to that rat-infested friggin' parking lot, you don't want me to get OSHA around here, do you? You don't want me to get OSHA. That ain't what she said, but that's the bullshit I was saying. You want me to go get OSHA? Because I called the motherfucker. I would have to go all the way to that rat-infested parking lot, get on a train, back to my apartment, sleep 1.5 hours, wake up, go back, get back on the train, go to that rat-infested parking lot again, and then make it. How do you expect me to work on an 1.5 hours sleep? They looking at each other. Well, that is a point. But they ain't say it. They did not say it to Angela, but she had a point, okay? Even truck drivers can't drive more than 14 hours a day. I don't care how young the girl is. She needs sleep. All right, give us a minute. We'll talk to you later, okay? Judy said. Her face remained stern as she and the others stayed put, and I left her office. Later, Judy called me back in. It was just the two of us. First of all, she said, don't take the van home. Okay. I'm not going to fire you. My face must have regained its color. Second of all, can I just say something? What? Can I just say how proud I am of you? You were absolutely right. Not only did we assume that you were just out with the band and did whatever you want, but we never asked you your side of the story. Judy had just acknowledged me for doing something that turned out to be a pivotal moment for me. When I first saw the importance of finding my voice and using it to stand up for myself. Some people never find their voice, ever. Judy was the first person to believe that I could be on the air. She was super smart. So when she believed I could, I started to believe I could. So my next step would be to learn to run the boards. Board operators were always in demand because the pay was low, but the job required training to run them. Yet I knew by now that running the boards was going to be my way inside the studio. So I asked some of the board ops if they would start teaching me. I had done only 1 or 2 sessions when my program director, Joe, came up to me one day and stood there, judging on his mustache, and then explained, hey, I need someone to run the public service show on Sunday at 4 a.m. Are you cleared? Are you ready to run a board? Yes, I blurted out. I was not. I showed up that Sunday morning at 4 a.m. as Curtis Elder was getting off shift. As I took everything in, I was overwhelmed. The boards with all the buttons and switches, everything looked so big and complicated, like I was about to operate an airplane. Holy shiz. I'm totally going to F this up. Curtis felt so bad for me that he wound up staying with me the whole shift. He walked me through the entire show and gave me a crash course in how to run a board properly. By the next time I came on to run the board, I was more comfortable. And from then, I started doing it all the time. So I'm seeing when you're reaching for your goals, you got to take a lot of chances, even if you fall on your face or even if you look stupid. You just got to take chances. I mean, that's what life is about, especially when you're doing things outside of the norm, like a regular 9 to 5. You just got to jump out there. By the early 1990s, when I was 19 or 20 years old, at the same time that I was starting to think maybe I'd found my direction in radio, Hot 97 had started to question its musical direction. The question was answered when the station brought in a new program director, Steve Smith. And everyone at the top had this epiphany that New York was the market, if anywhere, where a full-time hip-hop radio station could thrive. I don't know what led them to that, or at what business meeting it was said that we could build the radio station around hip-hop. Steve Smith, a tall white guy with a big head of curly blonde hair, was not what you'd expect as the person to lead that charge. But who was? The concept didn't even exist as far as I knew. So when the whispering of it started, the thought of it was like a lightning strike. Wait, what? How amazing would that be? A radio station that played hip-hop all day? We had never heard of such a thing anywhere. Hip-hop was strictly for weekends, and if you did hear it during the week, it was for sure after 10 p.m. word. But sure enough, pretty quickly, they started bringing in some possible DJs to interview. There were a few I knew from MTV and other places, but no one seemed official. Just before Steve started in the spring of 1992, they brought in Funk Master Flex.